Hey stars, it's me, Shaw the Star, and I'm back. Listen, before I even start, I'm drinking some zero sugar iced tea lemonade, half and half. Okay, half and half. Anywho, um, listen, I wanted to start this video off with thanking you guys from my last video. Um, where it was just an 11-minute video that I was, trying to reach out to you guys and explain to you guys what was going on with me, why I hadn't done a video in 9 or 10 days at that time. Well, guess what? I'm back. um Listen, I had so many people reach out to me. Thank you guys. Thank you for some of the advice, some of the products that I was told about. And also I want to thank my godmother, Darlene. You guys don't understand, when you get to a certain age and you still have people that you had relationships with when you were a kid. I remember my godmother picking me up. She lived in Queens. I lived in Brooklyn, and she would come and get me and take me to Queens, to her family's house for the weekend and things of the sort. We went to the same church and everything. Well, anyway, thank you, Godmommy Darlene. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for your guidance. I sent you a text today, so read that and get back to me and let me know. And also, I've decided that because I find lately it's been really hard for me to get my numbers under control, like I said to you before. But today I feel great. Like we're so fast and so easy to tell people we're having a horrible time and having a horrible day. Let's not hesitate to tell people we're having a good day, a great day. Because people need to know that there's something else to look forward to. Even if today isn't what you want it to be, you can get a head start on tomorrow. Okay. Now, seriously speaking, I want to really start talking about more about diabetes, meaning new products, new sensors for your arm, new treatments, also new products, things that um, that we can pass on to one another. If you get tired of just drinking water all the time, there's a couple of products out there, zero sugars, diet or light. And I realized that there's a difference now in diet, light, and zero sugar. So we'll talk about that too. But listen, I just wanted to let you guys know that I am having a great time. I am feeling better. And I got some stories for you. And let's go. Um, First off, I know I'm a little late, guys. Don't, blame my mind and not my heart. You guys know I tried to be upfront with you. I want to say rest in peace to the Cosby Show star Malcolm Jamal Warner, who passed away at the age of 54 while on vacation with his wife and daughter and some another friend or two, allegedly in Costa Rica. And he apparently drowned, allegedly drowned, getting caught in the high current. And yeah, and what I am glad about, even talking about this again now after the effect, is that there was some false stories. And I remember, even though I wasn't reporting to you, I was still listening and and getting news. And the reason that was my eyes started to get blurry because of my numbers being so high. So sometimes I would just have the news on and I'm listening, or when I could. But right now I'm back. Okay. So nevertheless, I want to say rest in peace. This is like this Malcolm Jamal Warner was someone of a certain age like myself, and we grew up together. When I was in high school, he was in high school. When he was on the Cosby Show, some of us were experiencing things that were going on the Cosby Show. So this is someone that we kind of grew up as a member of our family. We've seen him grow into a man, and there was a couple of rumors. Like I said, I'm glad we got back to this. There were a couple of rumors that came out. At first, it said that he had passed and he had drowned in the high currents, and then I heard some reports that he had his daughter with him at the time, and that he was trying to save her, and that's how he perished. And you know what? Listen, people. And I remember saying this to Leighton. I said, I had heard quite a few stories, but none of them involved his daughter being in the water when he was in the water at that time of his drowning, right? And I often think about why people always got to put the funk on the story. You know what I mean? Listen, this was not a guy or a man that you had to add anything to him. He seems to be a great guy. We don't really know him with being in trouble and doing things, and to be to the age of 54 that he was. And not really, we couldn't really wrap him into anything besides being um, related somewhat to Bill Cosby, with being his son on his show for so many years. So other than that, we didn't need to add the funk on it, meaning to make him a hero is what I'm saying. You know, people add things to the story to make it sensationalize it more, and to, oh, he's a hero because he was a hero anyway. So you didn't have to add the funk with him having his daughter in the water and having to save her and having to give his life to save hers. That's a lot of drama, and that's great if that would have been true. But we find out now. I found out now, because I started to hear it, then I didn't hear it, then I heard it, and I was like, "Listen, let's get to the bottom of it." And now there's reports like they're clearing up. His daughter was not in the water with him. They said that allegedly he was on the beach with his family and a friend, allegedly, and he was playing with his daughter on the beach, and then him and his friend decided to go for a swim, and him and his friend, from what I understand, allegedly is the ones that went out in the water, and the current took both of them, but the friend was able to get back and be helped, and Malcolm Jamal Warner wasn't. So again, I wanted to say rest in peace to him. I know I'm a little late, but like I said, there was no need to add the funk on the story. He was a hero to us anyway. You know, a positive black man. He was a hero anyway. So, with that being said, you know, we're hearing a lot lately about ICE, right? And when we hear about ICE, we just hearing how disturbing it is and how they're running up in people's homes and people's jobs and different things and just kind of snatching the people up, right? But are you hearing more and more about the ICE impersonators? Meaning there are people out there impersonating ICE, kidnapping people, taking people against their will, keeping them for ransom, or reaching out to their families and asking for a certain amount of money to get them back. And I thought it, and I've heard of it a few times, but I don't hear anybody talking about it. And I came across CNN. CNN had did a story on it, and this is what it is: multiple ICE impersonator arrested, made during nationwide immigration crackdown, right? So, you know, they put some pictures up, but I don't know if we, as a group of people, these are some of the impersonators. These people are putting on ICE t-shirts and ICE jackets with the word ICE on it, and, you know, masks, because the ICE officers are covered. And so, you know, they were saying, how would you know if if it's a real ICE officer or not? And I thought it was weird. I was like, you know what? That's true. How would you know? How would you know? So I'm like, you know what? It's something to talk about. And you know, they came up with some ways with saying, you know, um, okay, well, it's going to start like this. So far, in three different states, authorities in at least three different states have arrested individuals allegedly impersonating immigration and custom enforcement officers at the time when real ICE agents have ramped up immigration enforce efforts under the Trump administration, right? So in South Carolina, Sean Michael Johnson, 33, was charged with kidnapping and impersonating a police officer after allegedly detaining a group of Latino men along a Charleston County road. Johnson is accused of willfully and unlawfully representing himself as an ICE agent and detaining a vehicle of individuals for moving. Yeah, and they're sometimes taking these people off. Listen, when you have things going on where people are taking people and they're never being seen again, or people are stealing organs and taking you and harvesting your organs and stuff. This is a serious matter, because now we're not surprised when we hear that ICE agents have burst into what can I say, into a factory somewhere where there's a major lot of people and doing whatever. How do we know that they're real or not? Today was saying, oh, check their ID. When you're being approached by any law enforcement, Most of the time, if you have the right mind, you will be a little nervous and maybe a little off kilter, and that's fine. But you're not thinking of, well, show me your real ID, or I'm not going by what the ICE is saying on your jacket or your shirt. I want to see, and I don't want you to flash a fake badge. I want to see the ID. That doesn't happen, people. So I don't really know what people are going to do. Give me 1 second. I don't know what people are really going to do as far as this, because this can be a real problem, and it is a real problem. So far, in 3 different states, people have been arrested for doing this. Okay, so I want people to be aware of this, that every time you see somebody with an ice jacket on an ice shirt and they're doing something, doesn't mean that they actually have to be an ICE officer. You don't know who you're getting in the cars with. You don't know who's taking you against your will at this time. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that, because I thought it was crazy that it was happening and what people were doing while it was happening, right? Okay, so I always give y'all a bunch of stories about I always give you a bunch of stories about the airlines, right? So the airlines, I am pretty much thinking there's more going on than just um things like malfunctions, um near catastrophes, because we since I've made a video in quite a few days, there's been quite a few things that happen, right? And it is what it is. Like I said, make your own judgment, do what it is you feel comfortable with doing. But again, you won't say being a subscriber to this channel that you don't know. Okay? Well, Delta airline pilot arrested in cockpit within moments of plane touching down in San Francisco. So this is not about, something going wrong or something happening with this is not something going on with let's see. I want you to see this title because I want you to understand. It says Delta airline pilot arrested in cockpit within moments of plane touching down in San Francisco, right? Now, you would think what? Maybe he was drunk? Um what? Maybe he was, well, this is what's going to be the story. This is what it is. And imagine this. Now you're on the flight. You've flown. I'm just saying hypothetically, this flight came from Minneapolis and it was to San Francisco. It states that a Delta airline flight from Minneapolis to San Francisco took a very unexpected turn once the plane touched down in California. On Saturday, July 26, Delta flight 2809 landed in San Francisco, right? Around 9:35 p.m. According to reports, within moments of its arrival, a group of approximately 10 officers boarded the plane and arrested one of its co-pilots directly out of the cockpit. A passenger on board stated that the officers stormed the cockpit. They reportedly took the co-pilot away to the confusion of everyone, included the other pilots of the flight. The co-pilot had not been identified by name. A spokesperson for Homeland Security investigators in San Francisco told the San Francisco Chronicle that the agency assisted local officers in executing an arrest warrant. This is an ongoing local investigation, and what they're saying that is that the pilot, co-pilot, was arrested directly out of the cockpit by at least 10 officers for child abuse. Um, they said they barged through this and stormed the cockpit. They removed the co-pilot, cuffed him, presumably arresting him, and brought him back down the aisle to the plane. Um, They said that everybody on the plane was shocked, even the pilot and the other co-pilots. They were not warned ahead of time. They didn't want to alert anybody, so the police was there at the gate waiting. They didn't alert anybody on the plane or any of those things. And they're saying that he's actually for child abuse, and they're not really going into it too much. I'm actually still reading it, and they're not really going into it of what he did or didn't do. Um, But yeah, we're going to stay on this. But can you imagine your co-pilot being arrested as the plane um, arrived at his gate? So I thought that was different. Um, well, you know what? I do have some more. He was arrested for child abuse and sex charges. Okay, this is the complete story. His name is Rustam Bagwar, and he's now facing child abuse and sex charges. The incident occurred while passengers were still on board the plane. That, like they said, the other pilot and the other co-pilot was not aware of what was going on. They gave nobody a forewarning. So yeah, the co-pilot was arrested for child abuse and sex charges. That's all they say. They don't go into it anymore, and we don't need to. We'll figure it out. But did you know that there was a Delta flight carrying 150 passengers, and it narrowly avoided a runway catastrophe? Like seriously. They're keeping these things quiet. They're not really reporting these the way that they normally do. Okay, so it says another plane almost landed directly on to another plane right before takeoff. The flight was forced to abort takeoff seconds before the other plane landed directly in front of the plane. This incident highlights the critical nature of air traffic control and the importance of runway safety during takeoffs and landings. So, you have a plane on the runway waiting to take off. Then you have another plane looking to land. As this plane is sitting here, and seconds before it takes that takeoff, that long stretch, and it picks up speed to go take off, this plane landed directly in front of him before pretty much they hit the gas to take off. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Yo, that's bananas. That's bananas. Okay, so again, had to let you know. Now, another story that I want to talk about that I know I'm a little late with, but they were talking about the man who passed away in the freak MRI accident when the machine jammed. Um, well, he had apparently there was a wife there for an X-ray for her knee, allegedly, and the husband he takes his wife there. Apparently, she has issues because apparently allegedly they've been there before. And the husband is going through some type of training. They really didn't say, but he's doing some type of training. I don't know if it's for marathon or whatever. But he has a 20-pound chain around his neck, weight resistance. So he's training for something. Well, apparently his wife went to get a MRI on her knee in Long Island. This happened in Long Island. And while she had the MRI, and when it was time for her to get out the machine, her husband, as she said, as they had done before, the husband was asked to come in and assist her to get out of the machine. I don't know if he had it on before or if this is the first time, but apparently he had this 20-pound chain. And when the assistant who was allegedly doing the MRI on the wife, when they apparently didn't cut off the machine and opened up the door to get the husband to come in and help the wife, when he came in, allegedly he was sucked into the machine like a magnet because of the 20-pound chain that he had on his neck. And they said that the man was jammed in the machine for almost an hour. So I would assume that allegedly that as soon as he came in direction of the machine with having that chain on, and the machine is on, it's a magnet, it sucked him into the machine, and with sucking him into the machine, they couldn't get him out. And being sucked into an MRI machine, allegedly, he had numerous heart attacks and different things. So, again, I want to give a rest in peace. His name was Keith McAllister, and he was 61 years old. And this happened in Nassau County in Westbury, Long Island. And his wife, Adrienne Jones McAllister, she was the one getting the her knee X-rayed. And I just wanted to, I wasn't able to report it when it happened, but I don't know. I don't even know what to explain. That's a horrible way to go. That's something horrible to even witness. And I don't know. I did read in the a couple of articles about it. They were actually blaming the technician. And I say that because I remember reading a story. I don't have it in front of me now, but I remember them saying that something about the person that performed the X-ray was either, I don't know. They saying that the person didn't have experience in whatever they were doing. Apparently, maybe they were new. I don't know what the. This is all alleged. I don't know what the story is. Of course, a lawsuit. Allegedly, I'm sure a lawsuit is already filed, and I'm sure this is not the last we'll hear of this case. But I'm sure they'll settle. But that's just me allegedly. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But again, I wanted to speak on that, and also, we have been talking about Breonna Taylor since 2020, and we are now in 2025, right? Well, a federal judge sentenced former Louisville police detective Brett Atkinson to 33 months in prison for the shots he fired during the fatal 2020 raid on Breonna Taylor's apartment, right? Now, I know we're in the last month of July, and this happened on July 21st that this officer was sentenced to 33 months for the role he played in the death of Breonna Taylor. 33 months, people. 33 months. They said July 21st sentence was a defiance of a last minute request from federal prosecutors that Haskin receive only a 1 day sentence. So originally they sent a last minute request for him to only receive 1 day sentence. Western District of Kentucky Judge Rebecca Grady Jennings said that she was troubled by the prosecutor's July 16th sentencing memorandum, as well as their argument towards leniency in court on Monday. They're saying she was very troubled by them asking for, at the last minute, a 1 day sentence, time served, whatever that is. So she, I don't know. I don't, that would have made, I don't know. They said the seriousness of the crime is obvious. Briefly addressing the court, Hackins said, in hindsight, if he knew all the facts about the situation during the raid, he knew now he knew now, I would have never have fired my gun. That's fine. But the fact is, you should have never fired your gun in the first place. I mean, and even if you're saying if you knew then what you knew now, that's all in hindsight. That's just the way life goes. Which any of us would say if we knew what we knew a week ago, a year ago, a day ago, things would be different, right? So that's in hindsight. That's ridiculous. Well, they said he was convicted of violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights the night she was unalive by firing a total of 10 shots into her apartment through a sliding glass door and window that was covered by blinds. So it was a blind sight. You didn't even know what you were firing at and who. None of the shots Haskins fired hit her. Okay. So she passed into the neighboring apartment where a man, a pregnant woman, and a young child were present. So they're saying that none of his shots hit Breonna Taylor. I don't know, whatever. But they said his shots went through the wall into the next apartment where a man, a pregnant woman, and a child were present. So it was just ridiculous. You were just blindside shooting through a glass door that had blinds, so you couldn't see what was behind that door. Just wanted to let you know what that was about. So he got 33 months, people. 33 months. Well, just to let you know, are you guys aware that Kamala Harrison is stating that she's writing a book about her whirlwind presidential run? And I mean, I think it would be an interesting read. It says Kamala Harris to detail whirlwind presidential campaign, an upcoming book, which is called 107 Days. Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Um, how many people are going to buy the book? I'm interested to know that. How many people buying? I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I don't know. Because I think we kind of experienced it with her. I'm sure we're going to get her personal feelings and maybe what was really going on behind the scenes, right? But we pretty much saw what we needed to see. And we're paying for what we need to pay for, I guess, for some people. So, yeah, Vice President Kamala Harris will be writing a book about her presidential campaign, and it will, I believe the title would be allegedly 107 days, because I think that's what she had in her running with Joe Biden backing out, allegedly. But I'm just saying allegedly, just to say allegedly, right? Well, we've been talking, everyone's been talking about Jeffrey Epstein and, his all the paperwork and the list and things that one minute the government and everybody was admitting to having, then the next minute it doesn't exist. One minute it was on someone's desk. I mean, she actually did a press conference to the point where she stated that she had the files and the list and all of these things on her desk, and that she just couldn't wait to get through it and release it. And we finding out that now they're saying there's no list, no client list, no list. And allegedly, I mean, some people feel that because President Trump was very good friends with Jeffrey Epstein, that his name, I would say, allegedly on the list, right? We pretty much know what it is, but we would say allegedly at this point, right? And even if it's not on the list, which I believe it may be allegedly, it's in the paperwork. He's all through that, all up and through that. Well, Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriend, former Sports Illustrated swim model Stacey Williams, right? Now she did an interview. I'm going to show you just the out. This is what I'll show you, so you can, if you want, if you're interested, you can go for it and look up the interview. But she did an interview with CNN, right? Like I said, her name is Stacey Williams. Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriend tells CNN he and Trump were best friends and up to no good, allegedly, right? So, former Sports Illustrated swimwear model Stacey Williams told CNN her ex-boyfriend Jeffrey Epstein and President Donald Trump were best friends when she was with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? Now, as we know, President Trump is trying to separate himself as far as anything that he can possibly say or do from Jeffrey Epstein. Like I heard him say, "Are we still talking about this?" Yeah, we're still talking about this, because now you're talking about allegedly pardoning Maxine, the other woman. I believe that's her name. I'm sorry, don't. But the woman that was with Jeffrey Epstein, she was his go-getter, and I can't remember her name. But anyway, so you may be possibly pardoning her. Then I hear that today you're in communication with Puffy, Sean Combs, legal attorneys to possibly pardon him. And what I heard allegedly on the news today is that Puffy has applied for another bond hearing to get out on bond. If he's released on bond, um, he possibly won't be pardoned until after sentencing. However, I also heard allegedly on the news today, same story, if he's not given a bond, he may be exonerated immediately and let go, pardoned by President Trump. Listen, I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know. Like, I'm over it. And my thing with this Jeffrey Epstein, like, you really are playing in our face, telling that one minute these lists and all of this paperwork and all of this, the files and all of this stuff, incriminating stuff was there. Couldn't wait to release it. I was actually sitting around for years waiting to it to be released just to see whose name on there. Only to find out that there's no list. So it never existed. So what was on Miss Lady's desk that she stated it was on her desk waiting to be reviewed by her? What? I don't understand my this is just me personally. And I don't understand how one person can do so much damage to a country within a matter of 6 months. Okay, it's July, yeah. 6, 7 months. be convicted of so many things. Because he's definitely a felon, right? Listen, I don't know. But again, this is what some of you guys wanted. This is what, and a lot of you didn't bargain for this. I know right now, a lot of you guys are kicking yourselves, but it's too late. What's done is done. But how is there some type of moral act? Don't you have to have some type of morals to be the president, to be a leader of the free world, to be a leader in a free country? Some type of morals? Now I heard that allegedly President Trump is stating that Jeffrey Epstein was kicked out of one of his clubs, or I don't know if he was a member allegedly or was just visiting, but he was kicked out for being a creep. That's what, so now he's calling him, oh, he was a creep. That creep, oh, we kicked him out of my club because he was a creep. But why do we have so many videos and pictures of you guys together? How do we have so many like, are you kidding me? And now you don't know the man. Now he's a creep. And listen, people, we have to be intentional. But yes, again, if you guys are interested, her name is, she's a swimsuit model, Stacey Williams. She did an interview on CNN, and she's Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriend. And she says that Jeffrey Epstein and President Trump were best friends when she was with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know how you get more clearer than that. I don't understand how it gets. Okay, like come on. Okay, this is my last story, and I'm going to let you guys go. Um, I'm still investigating this story, but my main thing was making sure. Give me 1 second. Making sure. Okay. I try to find out as many facts I can about a story, right? Now, this is allegedly, I'm going to come back with more of this story as I investigated more, but I'm going to give you what I have so far. Okay? A Texas family is outraged after doctors took their son off life support without their permission to take his organs. I'm going to repeat that. A Texas family is outraged after doctors took their son off of life support without their permission to take his organs. It says a Texas family of Nick Torres is outraged after doctors took their son off of life support without their permission to take his organs. The family believes Nick is still alive. The family believes Nick is still alive and fighting for his life against the hospital's decision, right? Because apparently the hospital was fighting against it. I'm not quite sure what the story that I know that they were saying that Nick was brain dead and that they didn't believe anything was going to correct itself, okay? Allegedly. But the family decided to keep him on life support. Well, the family believes Nick is still on life support, alive, and fighting for his life against the hospital's decision. The legal battle centers around the hospital's argument that Nick is brain dead and that further signs of deterioration has been shown. The family is seeking to transfer Nick to another hospital for a second opinion before all of this happened. The hospital contends it is following Texas state law, but the family feels pressures to make a decision quickly. This tragic accident has led to a heartbreaking legal battle for the Torres family, highlighting the ethical and legal complexities involving such cases. So, what I'm getting, and like I said, I'm going to do more on this story because I find it very, very interesting. Because, like I say to you, we travel to different countries, but even here in the United States, different states from state to state have different rules and regulations and laws in place. And you have to make sure you have a living will. You have to make sure you have your things in order just in case something happened because, they need to know if you want to be resuscitated or not. They need to know what your wishes are and have someone representing you. Um, Apparently something happened and they didn't go into, I haven't gotten to the point of what exactly happened to him. I have a feeling of what, but I'm not quite sure. But they considered him brain dead and they felt like he was deteriorating in different areas, right? So the hospital stated that because when I watched the video, they have a video of when the family finds out that the he had been taken off the machine and that his organs had been removed. They have a video. So one of the family members are recording when the doctors are telling them, and they're like, "Wait a minute, how did you do that?" And they said that allegedly on your driver's license, which we do know that we put if we're going to donate, if we're going to be an organ donor or not, right? Well, being that some of us say, yeah, we're going to be an organ donor. Some people say no, but apparently Nick said that he was going to be an organ donor. So what the hospital is saying is that it allegedly gave them the right to take his organs while they were still good because they said that he was deteriorating. So maybe the organs were going to go bad and wouldn't be able to be helpful to someone else to donate. So while the organs were still good, I don't even want to say that with a clear mind. The hospital took him off of life support and took his organs. Listen, guys, I want you guys to be intentional. I love you guys. Please continue to like, comment, share. Please send me emails. Tell me what you want to see. Like, I'm back. I'm gonna try to give you what I got. Like I said, I'm feeling great, and let's get it. Let's really get it. I have some more stories. I'll see you guys soon. I love you guys, and until next time, see you soon.